So what consumables should we be using on your tank? What would I consider the best? Well, first off, you may have seen that there is this event food called Anniversary Ham, and I do have quite a lot of it stocked up as I bought it probably like 3 years ago at this point, but I've never used it. And let's cover why. You can see that it would give you 25% extra stamina. This would be a pretty massive buff, as it would increase your shield. So that's this right here, your guard, to 125 instead of just 100. And we can see it shows that it works there. It shows that it gives us the buff. As you can see, when we are dead, let's say without the buff from that, we just have 100 guard. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, your guard is, in other words, your block, which is originally 40% of your maximum hit points. So if I have 1.235 million, then my guard or my block is exactly 494,000 hit points, which is great. And that'll get increased depending on what exact hit points. So if like I have this now, for some reason that's gone up a little bit, probably with the campfire buff, then I have 396,000 of my guard. That's just my base guard, which is this one, as you can see with just that block. You can increase that further by going into like your tab stance. All tanks have this benefit, and you essentially increase your maximum hit points of that shield or that guard, the block, up to 60% of your maximum hit points. So increasing that by 25% should be a significant amount, right? You can see we get the food, and you can see then our guard increases up to 125. So that would, instead of just being 40%, would now be 50% of our maximum hit points. That is a 10% increase on that 40%, which is really good. I would now have 620,000 hit points on my block or shield. That's an increase of 124,000. Yeah, that would be pretty nice. And that can get increased even further when you're in your ultimate or your tab ability there. It's a bit limited on the paladin, but it's possible. So you could block even more. And I would say it's probably the best food you could be using, as alternative food is like this, Caprice. It would just increase your hit points by 5%, along with like deflect. This is the legacy version, which has 10% deflect. The versions you can get nowadays would only have 5%. And so that 5% to your max HP would only be, as we can see, our hit points now, 1.24 million. Increase it by Caprice, we've only gone up by like nearly 60,000. And so our shield will get increased by only like 24,000, which overall is a smaller increase when you add those up together. About 84,000 versus 124,000 effective hit points compared to the Anniversary Ham. So the Anniversary Ham would be like the best event food you could use on your tank. Unfortunately, it does not work. It does not work at all on your tank. It'll show. It'll give you the guard. Again, we can use that there, and there you go. We get our guard increased. But if you get like this dummy and you have him attack you, if we just continually block, our shield will not regenerate. And we can add up exactly the numbers that he deals us until our shield is broken. And then we can see exactly how much hit points our shield actually has. And with that, we were getting a value for our base shield here. This is like the healing. It's considered healing in the combat tracker. So when our shield like heals back up, that's 496,000, which is exactly 40% of our maximum hit points. And so we then went and checked that by using Anniversary Ham, and well, no difference. You can see that there again. Shield was only 496,000. So it's not working for tanks at all, and that's really unfortunate. If it did, it would be still, yeah, definitely the best consumable, the best event food you could use on a tank. So be aware of that. It does not work for a tank. It works for DPS. For those of you with a stamina bar just above like your action points, you can see that bar right there. And we can use it without that Anniversary Ham by, yeah, just like dying there, and then we don't have the effect, and we can count how many times, 1, 2, 3, and we can't do a fourth time, right? So then we use our Anniversary Ham wait for that stamina to refill, and then we can check that again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we got 1 extra shift in our total stamina bar. So it works for DPS. Those of you who have this shift ability, healers then as well, except if you're a paladin healer. And it won't work then on a fighter DPS who also just has the block. So ultimately, what are then the best consumables you can use for a tank? What should you be using? Well, here we have my consumables list, and you can see from the very beginning there, you have your campfire buff. I recommend it. VIP buff, recommend it. Invocation blessing, yeah, good. Just get one of those of the stats that would fit you. And then for elixirs, the best one is most likely for you, Elixir of Steadfast Devotion. If you're going with like a deflect severity build and a deflect build, which is viable, especially when against lots of ads or against bosses which are going to hit you a lot but over time rather than like a few big hits, then deflect is good and foe hammers is there. That's it for the elixirs. Potions, you just want a crafted potion, and you can get lower ranks of the potions, like you can get the ones that would give you maybe only 3,000. They can generally be a lot cheaper. They're like this, rank 4. And that's your potion slotted. And then the event food. Since Anniversary Ham doesn't work at all, the other viable options is Caprice. And then you want to look at other options that have double defensiveness, and you can see there's nothing here. However, new this year, which just came out, are the moon cakes, which I still want to go and add to this list. And you can farm it here with the Feast of Lanterns, and I would recommend you do that if you don't have like a bunch of Caprice or something. But Caprice can just be easy enough to get. It's not that expensive as long as you're not going for the legacy one. And these are the moon cakes, 5% awareness and 5% incoming healing. Pretty solid for a tank and a very viable option. And that would be your event food. Stronghold food, again, you'd just want to go with defense or awareness, and then the rest I don't really see as much of a need to go for, except the Chain of Scales. You may as well get that one from Chult with just 3% base awareness. Of course, if you die, that expires, and then you have to wait like 10 minutes before you can use it again. And yeah, that's about it, to be honest. Not much else I would regularly use on a tank. Of course, having a Stone of Health, yes, or some healing potions. That's a given, right? And so overall, hopefully that's been somewhat insightful, you guys. Again, Anniversary Ham does not work at all on a tank. I've tested it multiple times. I've tested it in the past, and it still hasn't been fixed. Either the devs just don't know that it doesn't work, or they think it works because it works on a DPS and doesn't work on a tank, and they never check that. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this brings a bit more awareness to it, and it can get fixed for tanks. And if it does get fixed for tanks, yeah, it'll be one of the best. So maybe you want to stock up now, but it's a complete risk. Who knows? The devs could never fix it for tanks. They could leave it and just be like, well, it works for, at least for some classes, so we'll just leave it as that. Anyway, not that those other classes would ever use it, because you're better off going with ones that will boost the stats you need. So a special thank you to all of these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.